How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Oops, the difference a final over can make. When you've hit 4 sixes, got 27, suddenly 160 game is now 180 game. Abdul Samad has taken down Sandeep Sharma and given the Lucknow Supergiants something, we think, at halftime at Jaipur. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the fine company of Mark Boucher, Ambati Rayudu, Matt Roller. Good to see you, gentlemen. It's been a long day already, but now let me just refresh and restart and check with you whether that last over has just changed how you feel about which team is in front. Mark.
Big time. After 19 overs, they're 153. And you would have thought that having a look at the way that the game was going, maybe that they can sneak a 10 or 12 run over in. 27 is a massive swing with regards to this game. I think that all of a sudden from being an average score where you would expect RR to chase it, now they've got to do, now someone's got to play a nice little knock on a pitch like that.
Especially after how they chased in the last game. Raidu, do you sense Lucknow have the advantage as well?
I mean, it's too early. Maybe whoever wins the power play, the coming power play might have the advantage, but definitely it's not going to be easy because we have seen RR struggle in their batting, and if they get Hetmeyer up, maybe they have a chance.
So if you would have told them at the start of the game that 180 is where you can keep Lucknow, would they have been okay with that, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 180 I feel is par on that surface. So they would take it. I mean, chasing 180 there at Rajasthan in the night.
I think the question you got to ask is that because no one knew how the pitch was going to play.
Right.
So I think you can, if you had to ask them after 10 overs, 180, they probably would have said, no, that's too much. So, you know, they probably would have had 160, 165, where with all due respect, they should have been. Unfortunately, they got it wrong in the last over.
Ooh, Samad v Sandeep at the Savai Man Singh, you remember?
Yeah, I was there in 2023 to watch Samad hit a last ball 3 hits when he was reprieved for 6 to win Sunrisers a game. Their career head-to-head in the IPL now is 43 runs off 11 balls with 6 sixes, so pretty convincingly in Abdul Samad's favour.
All the matchups that Rajasthan tend to focus on. How did they miss this one?
Great question.
Tell me something else then.
Well, yeah, no, just to Mark's point, I think if you consider that LSG activated the impact sub in the 8th over at, 54 for 3, I think?
Yep.
I think Rajasthan will feel as though that innings has got away from them after a pretty decent start, and they could have had even more early wickets if they'd, Shubham Dubey had a slight misfield and then had a pretty horror drop catch as well. Would have got Nicky P even earlier than they ended up getting him.
It is a debatable subject though, because as again, you spoke at the earlier game about not leaving much in the shed like the Delhi Capitals did. It seems like every game you leave Miller in the shed, faces 8 balls, and when they do that impact sub, at the point that they do it, they leave themselves a bowler short. So how does that decision look to you?
In hindsight, you probably think, maybe they should have sent him in. Hindsight's the perfect sight. But, I think that they, at that stage, they were concerned that they might probably get bowled out. So they needed someone to do a bit of the dirty work with Aiden at the other end. And they obviously felt that he was the right guy to go in. And then, plus, you've got the luxury of maybe in the last 5 overs, if Miller had to come to the crease to hopefully bash 1 or 2 out the ground, which did happen, but not off Miller's bat.
Yeah. Raidu, how do you feel about bringing Badoni in? He played well, no doubt, but they leave themselves a bowler short.
Yeah, we were all expecting Mayank Yadav to come in and bowl at 150 clicks, but that won't be happening today. But definitely Badoni's role today was crucial, and that's the right thing to do because you still had 13 overs when he walked in, and you wanted somebody to stabilize the innings, and that is what he has given. And Miller, his role sometimes can be to play those last 5 or 6 overs.
Is that a good role though? I mean, he's certainly more capable batter than that. We saw Tristan Stubbs come in much earlier today, and it makes a difference, and you can leave yourself with Mayank Yadav. Do you sense Miller is sometimes shortchanged like a number of other middle order, lower middle order batters?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Miller's been playing for South Africa for quite some time now, and, in one-day cricket, he usually comes in with maybe 20 overs to go. So can he bat for that long? Absolutely. you know, it's once again, it's one of those things where you see a batter finish off games well, and sometimes you get put into that bracket that you're a finisher and that you can't bat a touch higher or a touch earlier. And I think he's definitely got the technical game to be able to go in the 10th over and score a lot of runs facing, 30, 40 balls. So I think it's just a gut feel that they had on the day where they felt Markram, he was going well at the one end. Badoni, I think the partnership that they had together was match changing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have got out early and then you could have really had a scramble for pads. But, he did have an impact on the game, and that's why he's called an impact player. So he's already had an impact on the game.
Well, my point is, give Miller that chance and play the batting sub impact only when you really have to hit the panic button. And at that point, you don't need to hit the panic button. You can give yourself Mayank Yadav now an X-factor match-winning bowler. Does it somewhere reflect of a team that aren't maximizing the use of the impact sub? Not Rajasthan Royals, don't get confused. Talking about LSG.
I think if I can just add here quickly. So it depends what type of player Badoni is. If Miller goes in and then Miller gets out, and Badoni goes in knowing that there's no one behind him, what type of a player is he? Where Miller would be used to going in at a time where he knows that there's no one behind him, because that's what he's done for most of his career. So it's also trying to get the best out of your impact player. So if Badoni goes in, he knows, listen, I can just go out there and play my natural game, which he did actually do, knowing full well that even if I get out, we've still got David Miller in the shed. I think that's sometimes a conversation that a coach might have in his own head to say, what's the best chance for my impact player to go out there and have an impact on the game? They obviously felt that sending him in before Miller was.
I guess then the converse argument, and we can come back to this at the end, is then you should always name your best bowlers in your 11 regardless. And they've named Prince Yadav and not Mayank Yadav. So I'm just going with that. Unless they anyway thought maybe we'll not get Mayank today, we won't risk it.
Well, I think that might be the one sort of justification for having done it this way round, is maybe they feel either Mayank isn't 100% fit, or maybe they think given that he's such a precious asset and can bowl fast, and sometimes that does mean that he'll disappear, maybe they thought that he's better in a six-bowler attack rather than, we don't necessarily want to have to rely on him for 4 overs on his comeback.
I think Zaid Khan said during the flash that he wants to ease Mayank Yadav in, but that interview happened after Badoni was already there. It is at odds with naming him in the 5 impact subs in the first place, because you're then only playing with 4. Anyway, let's talk about the players that did perform though. Badoni's 50, very good. Markram keeps them. They always need one overseas batter to play an innings like that, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, today was a special innings because he has taken on the spinners in those middle overs, which we have not seen Markram do that often. So that's some really good batting there. And he was quite confident against Hasaranga especially. He was picking those googlies well, and those shots were really good, and Badoni supported him brilliantly, I felt, in that partnership, because he was also playing at a good, decent strike rate, and it's not the Badoni we know. He generally takes a lot more time than what he has done today.
Has he upped his game against spin, Aiden Markram?
Yeah, I think so. I also think that, from a mental space, he would have come into the IPL, not in the biggest contract. You're playing with Marsh and you're playing with Pura, and he probably felt that he'd be the guy to take a backward step there. I think when Marsh left for personal reasons, that's when Markram sort of came into his own, because he almost adopted that role of, okay, I'm now the senior player here. And with Marsh and Pura getting out, I thought that brought the best out of him as well. Aiden is a natural leader, and he's leading South Africa for those reasons as well. So when an opportunity like that arises, he'll take it on himself to say, right, I'm the guy who they entrust now to bat through the innings. And if there's a risk to be taken, and a smart risk at that, I'm the guy to have to do that. So it forces his hand, which I think sometimes brings the best out of a player, certainly brings the best out of Markram.
Is this his best IPL, Markram, or best he's batted at least in the short duration of this?
I think probably. I mean, he was, if you think last year, he was sort of in and out a bit for Sunrisers, using a few different roles. I'd be interested to know, Mark, actually, whether you think that adaptability and versatility to use to bat in so many different roles is one of his greatest strengths, because I know in international cricket and T20s he's batted pretty much everywhere, sort of 1 to 5. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he's one guy, and we had a conversation earlier about taking a batter who was always an opener, moving him to the number 4 position, because he was young enough to be able to make the adaptation. I think he's good enough to make the adaptation as well. He learned how to play spin in the middle, so he learned different shots, reverse slaps and all that type of stuff, which you have to do to keep growing as a player. Now, towards the sort of prime of his career now, he's moved back to opening. So, you know, he can do the opening role. He's got a good enough technique. He's a test player as well. He's got the aggression up front, and if the game does go into the middle, he's got that game as well. So he's developed as a player and more of an all-round player that we probably pushed him into that number 4 position for South Africa.
Pant.
I knew you were coming to that.
I don't have anything else. I'm just saying one word.
Yeah. So I think I definitely feel that he should open the innings. Markram is in brilliant form. Marsh is in brilliant form. They can bat at number 4 now because they're playing spin well through the middle as well. So I think he needs to open. He needs to get runs. And as a captain, if you don't have runs, I think it will also affect your captaincy because your judgment may not be as clear or as commanding as if you had runs.
It's tricky, they're working so well, Marsh and Markram together. So that comes with its own pressure, I guess. Okay, I'm breaking up a fairly solid and consistent opening pair.
It does not really matter because you are someone who is there to get runs. And as a captain, you need those runs under your belt. And number 4 is not working for you. Then where do you go? You either go down or you go up. I think going up will be better for him because as we have spoken about, Markram can bat at that number 4 position and really excel for, or Miller can come up and bat at number 4. And
Miller is not even worthy of batting 5. You want him to come at 4.
If you want a left-right combination, you can always have
the shot that he played also, I think, I was curious that he said at the toss, and I'm happy that he feels like he's back into some kind of rhythm after that last innings, however the result may have turned out, that he feels like he's in form. It doesn't quite look that way though. Would you call him a batter who is in form, the choice of shots that he plays?
No, I think he's a batter who is not at the moment fit to be playing that 4 or 5 numbers because you need batsmanship, you need how to put the ball in the gap, you need to play with softer hands, you need to hit gaps. There's so much more to it.
All those attributes in Test cricket, it's so confusing.
No, that's because your the fielders are up, you have enough gaps, you can hit boundaries, you can hit boundaries over the fielders as well. But here in white ball cricket, when the ball's not doing much, it is not easy to put the ball in the gap.
Okay.
It's harder to put a straight ball into a gap than a ball that is swinging.
I want to go into a more detailed chat on this, looking at how the result goes. Players are walking out quickly. I want to spend a little more time on Rajasthan's bowling. Poor Sandeep Sharma, I wanted to talk about how maybe the IPL has cracked the code. Come around the wicket to Nicholas Puran and try and hit his pads. Second game in a row now that he's got him. Big moment. But Sandeep is again symptomatic of what you have brought up many times on RR games. They only have 5 bowlers.
And I was actually surprised that Parag didn't bowl a single ball, given that when he's captain previously, we saw him in that game against KKR when he bowled his 4 and rattled through them quite quickly. I was surprised that he didn't bowl just to give himself that flexibility as well as a captain.
All right, you know what, we'll come back to more elements of this, but I can confirm now that Matt Roller's classmate Vaibhav Suryavanshi is going to open the batting in the second innings. So let's just get an idea of what to expect over here. It's a special day for the IPL. 14-year-old, 15 already now, I think?
14 only.
14, still 14, not yet 15.
Imagine Shardul Thakur's thinking now. He must be thinking, oh my God, what if he hits me now? A 14-year-old smashing me.
It can't be, yeah. I can't imagine the bowlers. Your bowlers would be thinking, there's no way I want to be at the receiving end of this kid whacking me around.
I'll tell you what, he's a big 14-year-old kid. In South Africa, he'd probably be, give him a rugby ball and say to him, listen, the rugby field is where you're going to make your future.
So
got a bit of size to him.
Oh man, right. 2 left-handers as well. Whether Aiden Markram's job isn't done this evening, I wonder.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, and it's quite unusual for RR. They've obviously sort of obsessed over that left-right partnership this year, and suddenly they've gone left-left.
Well, they need something to change. So let's get predictions and see where this game goes. Remember, 181, their bowling options, now that the impact sub is played, the 2 Ristis in Digvesh and Bishnoi, Shardul, Prince Yadav, Avish Khan, potentially Aiden Markram. Raidu, how do you see this game going?
I think LSG are going to win this.
Ooh, you think they've got just enough in that last over?
Just about enough.
Close game though.
A close game in the night, especially at this ground, ball tends to keep a little low. So it won't be that easy.
I'm going LSG as well. I think because of the last result, it took the wind out of RR's sails. I think they're going to struggle to learn how to win.
We're just judging them on their last one, aren't we? Numbers man, that you are, 63%, says Rajasthan on the forecaster for ESPN Cricket Info.
Yeah, I'll back Rajasthan. I think they'll get a much-needed win. Yeah, Yeah, runs for Jaipur, I reckon.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
As he flicks one off his pads before.
Yes, of course. So the problem is Jaiswal's always got runs, and Mark put up that wonderful point of the dot balls. So let's hope that changes. Otherwise, it'll be something we'll go back to. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Jaiswal being the senior partner now in the opening pair will bring the best out of him.
Both in terms of age as well as experience.
Oh, you bet. All right, big 2 points for Rajasthan Royals. Mark, Ambati, Matt, let's talk after the game. They need to win, Rajasthan Royals. You can't afford a chase gone wrong like they did against the Capitals. If it's close, it'll be a fun game, and we'll pick up the chat on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Dragon for Timeout. Join us then.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.